Right boys, pause the video here to see what equipment you need. Right, my friend is going to sketch out the body and the beak and the feet by using her iPad, turning up the brightness and then sketching over the top. And then she's going to cut it out afterwards. Now, if you watch me in a few moments, that's not the way I'm going to do it. Instead, I'm going to look at the template and then I'm just going to draw it onto my card by hand. But either one is fine, okay? Just remember, if you're going to do it on the top of an iPad, if you touch it, it may move and you might need to resize it, okay? Okay, once you've drawn the different body parts, you will need to cut them out, okay? Because what you're going to do is, my parrot is going to be red, so I'm just going to cut the body out and that will be fine. But the beak I will need to do in black card. So you could either draw it straight onto black card, or like me, you can draw it onto red card, cut the beak out, and then use that to trace around on some black card, okay? Thinking about it, it's probably easier, isn't it, to just draw it straight onto black card, okay? Alright, so you want your beak to be about the same size as the neck of the sort of the head and neck of the parrot. Okay, now you can see by my video here that I've actually made my beak too small. So now I'm trying to resize it by holding the body over the black card, and I'm going to use that to help me make a beak that is big enough, okay, because the red one I made was too small. So I had a problem and then I found a way to deal with it. Okay, so just be prepared, boys. You might have some problems this session, and you'll need to find a solution. Okay. Right, for the next step, what I'm going to do is I need to cut out I need to make the tail. I need to make the feathers for the parrot. So what I do is I'm gonna draw. Now I want my feathers to be red, like the rest of the body of the parrot. So I'm gonna draw around my hand. Now I'm gonna close my thumb as well, tight to my hand, and that's how I'm gonna create my my tail feathers. Okay. Now I need to do this 3 times. So what I'm going to do is I've traced around it once. I'm now going to cut it out, and then I'm going to see if I can use the same piece of paper, and then I'm going to trace round it, around the one that I've cut out, and I'm going to do that twice more, and then I will have 3 sets of feathers to use. Okay. Now it's time to make the wings. Okay. Now my friend here is just making a little pattern. She wants it to be symmetrical, so she's drawn like a leaf sort of shape in the middle there. She's going to use some coloured paper, some sort of tissue paper, to basically create a design in the middle, and she's going to use some glue and then rip that off. And that's just going to add some colour to her wings, and then she's going to put the green on top in the middle, and then later on what we'll do is we're going to cut straight through the middle of the plate. Okay, we're going to cut the plate into 2 halves. Okay, now what I'm doing here is I've got a little bit of tissue paper in the middle, and I've got my red plate, and I've got and then I'm going to put some green around the outside. So what I've done is I've ripped all the little bits of green card up, and I'm going to stick those around the outside. Okay, and notice very carefully how I respect the glue stick. All right, I put the lid on afterwards. Okay, I don't want it getting dry and and then becoming useless. Okay, respect the glue sticks. Thank you. we now have all the different parts of the parrot made, don't we? We have the body, we've got the beak, and we've also cut out the feet. So we've got everything we need. We've also made the wings. So now we're going to start looking at the head of the bird. Okay. Now we're going to use the tissue paper now to create the sort of the fluffy white face of the parrot. Okay. So what we're going to do is we take the toilet roll. You can use tissue roll if you want, but toilet roll. Now we're going to it's 2-ply, I think, which means it's got 2 pieces of paper sort of on top of each other. So we're going to separate those, and then we're going to scrunch them up into little balls, and we're going to get a little bit of glue, and we're going to put it onto the face. Okay, so now there's 2 ways that I can think of that you can go about doing this. Number 1, you could scrunch up like 10 little balls of tissue paper, and then just glue like around the face of the bird, and then stick them all on. Or you could glue them on one at a time. But whatever you do, okay, at the top of the head, sort of like the forehead, you want to have about 0.5 centimetre of the card sort of visible so that you can see it. Okay, so don't stick paper all over the head. Just leave a little bit of whatever colour your parrot's going to be. So for me it's red, for my friend it's green. Okay, just leave a little bit lying over the top. Okay, if you watch the video carefully, you'll see that I'll point to it to make it clear that I want you to leave a little bit. So yeah, as you can see me on on the red parrot below, you can see that there's just a little bit of red above my tissue paper. Okay, and that's how it should be. But it's up to you really. You don't have to do it that way. You can trim off any little bits of tissue paper that go over the edge of the body as well. Right, now I'm going to take the beak and I'm going to put a little bit of glue on it, just on the edge, and I'm going to stick it behind the head of the parrot. Okay, just a little bit, just on the edge, just enough so that it will definitely stick on. Okay, and then I'll stick it on the back of the red body and head. Now you can stick on a googly eye if you like I have, or you can use some paint or a felt tip to just colour in the eye. It's up to you. Now it's time to basically organise the feathers. So you've got 3 hand shapes, and what you want to do is you want to overlap them. So you'll have all 3 of them sort of overlapping. So you have one at the sort of the top left, and then one at the bottom, and then you'll want one that sort of sticks out behind the 2 of them to make a tail shape. Okay, now what I did is I put the 3 hands over each other in their position, and then I used a pencil to work out how the top hands went over the bottom hands, and then I used a bit of glue to stick them on top of each other. Okay, but you can do it slightly differently to me if you like, but I found that to be the easiest way. It's now time to attach the tail to the body. So I just put a little bit of glue just on the edge, enough glue on the edge of the tails to stick on behind the body, and then it's just a case of gluing them together and making sure that the body and the tail lines up, okay, like mine does there. Right, now my friend is quite fancy with how she wanted to do her wing. So what she's going to do is she's got a split pin, and she's going to poke it through the top of the wing, and then she's going to poke that through the shoulder of the parrot, okay, and then on the other side she's going to once it's poked through the wing and the shoulder, she's then going to put the other wing underneath the parrot, and then she's going to poke a split pin through all of them, okay, and then she's going to bend the split pin around the wing behind the body to keep it in place. Now that you can do this if you like, but I decided that I didn't want to do that. My parrot will just be stuck in place, but because of the split pin, my friend's parrot will be able to move its wings. So it's up to you really what you would like to do here, and well, it depends if you have a split pin. If you don't have a split pin, then you can't do it, and you'll just need to do my way. I'm now going to trim off the rim of my plate because it was a little bit high and it was making it harder for me to glue the wing onto the parrot. So I'm just trimming off the top of it, and then after that I'm just going to glue a little bit of it. I'm just going to glue enough that it will be well stuck and sturdy. Okay, so as you can see now, I'm just gluing the part that's going to stick onto the parrot, and then I will press it very firmly onto the shoulder and the area that I want it to be in. Okay, we're almost at the end now. It's time to glue on the wing that's behind the parrot. So again, just going to work out the angle that I want the wing to be at, as you can see, and then I'm going to put some glue on it very carefully onto the area that I want to stick. It's definitely harder to glue onto tissue paper because the tissue paper is very delicate, so I was very careful with this. And then I stuck it on and gave it a little press just to make sure it was in place, and then I let it dry before I started playing with it. Wow, how cool is that?